WOO.
Astra with the sub. Thank you, Fastra. I appreciate that. That old guy with the sub. That old guy. Awesome. Glad to be here. That old guy said hello, and then said coming in here to save first. Darn it, that old guy took it first. Yep, he did. Respect, respect. Glad to be here. Hi, Haru. Ah, long time no see. Good to see you again, man. So, a lot has happened. I debuted as a VTuber, and I did a whole week of streams. That's what this is. And now we're about to dub some epic Twisted Wonderland.
Returns.
Do you like him there?
I do. It's such a nice sight to see.
Yes.
Yeah, Aru, the Quasimodo, he's here.
You thought you'd never see him again. It had been so long.
Oh, it's muted.
Okay,
I'll stop it after this lesson.
Okay.
いつでも来い。人間は浅はかだ。歴史は繰り返す。人間は浅はかだ。今日はここまで。僕の優秀さ、少しは。
They haven't even opened this because I was waiting to dub it.
Uh-huh.
All right, what do you see here? Who's this dude?
Well, it's an epic Jade.
Mm-hmm. Oops. So the missions I have left is to reach 20 with Rook and then all these Rook things.
Right.
All right. Are you ready, that old guy?
That puppet
I
guy.
think so.
What's this called?
Just a second. I anticipated this.
And
I
where
like
is it
this
taking
room.
place?
1 second.
Buster Moon.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's on my TV right now.
Nice.
Because, I opened up Netflix, and if you just leave it, it kind of scrolls through the different standby mode thing.
Yeah. At least we get to hear good music.
Yeah. Where'd that old guy go?
I'm just taking care of a message really quick.
Why is it called Grey's Anatomy?
I don't know. Do you know that cookie guy?
Grey's Anatomy. Well, there's a anatomy book that is a common medical reference, and it's called Grey's Anatomy.
Oh. I never knew that. I just thought it had to do with doctors.
Uh-huh.
Whenever you're ready, that cookie guy, you can read the location.
Octavinel dorm, Jade's room.
Wait, I'm eating my last bite of my grilled cheese.
Oh, that sounds good.
I thought that was his line.
I also got a big old glass of Ovaltine.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I'm ready.
Did you make that grilled cheese?
No, it was the yummy Costco kind, where you just heat it up from the microwave for 30 seconds, then you put it in the toaster, and it's yummy.
Nice.
Oh, good.
What do you think about Cheaper by the Dozen? The feel-good, goofy kids movie coming in Netflix on Monday. That old guy?
I didn't know it was coming on Monday, but I'm excited about it.
All right, I think I'm packed.
Hey, Jade, are you ready yet? I want to get going.
Someone's impatient.
And hiccupy. Look, we ain't been back there since our last holiday. It's exciting, okay? Octagonal dorm lounge.
Jada, Freida, good morning to you.
And good morning to you.
Morning, Azul. This is some real nice weather, huh? Gotta be a good sign.
You're in rather high spirits today.
Lloyd and I have been looking forward to this ever since our trip to the Sunshine Lands. Well, it's finalized 6 months ago.
Please, you're lying through your teeth. Floyd, at least, had completely forgotten about said sojourn until I brought it up yesterday.
What is sojourn?
Trip.
What I'm curious about is why you're visiting the Sunshine Lands at this time of year. I could understand your excitement if you were going home to the Coral Sea for a visit, but this is something else entirely.
Our mother asked us to go.
Oh, your mother? That takes me back.
It's been quite some time since you saw her last. Would you like to join us for the trip?
I think not.
That would be you. Not me.
I know.
Okay, I'm ready. Every time your mother sees me, she plies me with endless amounts of snacks, no matter how many times I try to decline. She asks strange questions, bursts out laughing out of nowhere, stares at me blankly without saying a word. Tells my mother a blend of truth and lies, has tea with my grandmother, and engages in entirely unnecessary small talk. Anyway, the point is, she's difficult to deal with, and I prefer not to accompany you, given the choice.
I believe that is simply her trying to be kind in her own way, but I suppose there's no changing your mind. Our preparations are all finished. Now all that's left is to pass through the mirror. We'll be back soon, Azul. Floyd, shall we be off to the mirror chamber?
Nah, I'm out.
Pardon?
How many time Azul spent yammering on?
He was
I
yammering.
decided I ain't in the mood anymore. I'm gonna sleep in my dorm room today.
There it is. Another classic Floyd mood swing. You were so excited for this mere minutes ago.
Well, so it goes. I anticipated this might happen, and am prepared to make the trip by myself.
Don't be so quick to play along.
A solo trip hardly seems fun, though. Azul, your company would be...
I'm not going, and that's final. Wait, I finally finished my plastic model! Yay, Aru! Kita is complete. We're so back.
Yay!
Yep. You know we're back, Aru. You know we're back. That didn't take you too long. I'm not going, and that's final. Please stop trying to rope me into something so unpleasant.
My, how rejection stings.
What's the big deal about going, Azul? Chances like this don't come along every day.
Then perhaps you should go, after all.
I told you I ain't in the mood anymore.
These don't take long at all, and they're really easy to put together. Okay. Nice.
It's sad to see you two competing over who doesn't go. I prefer to find someone actually interested in joining me. But who else could I convince to depart on such short notice? Perhaps someone with too much, sufficient free time on their hands?
I can point you in the right direction there. Grim time, grim time, grim
Ramshackle
time.
dorm.
Man, hanging out in Ramshackle was boring, but going on this walk is even more boring.
I like walks.
I want to do something fun.
I'm with you there. We ain't got nothing to do at school except homework, and more homework. If only we could go somewhere else and have some real fun.
Well, found us a little shrimpy and a sealy with nothing better going on.
If you want people with ample time on their hands, look no further.
Interesting. They certainly seem worth reaching out to.
I sent both of you a picture? Awesome. Let me check for it.
I'll look at it when the stream's over, so then the whole world doesn't... I'm not doxxed by the Discord messages. Because I'm on my phone. I can't look at it.
Nice! She's all complete doing the peace sign and holding her guitar. It's epic.
A hand of fate. Ramshackle dorm.
Good morning, Grim. You?
Oh, lol, oops. Oh, hydrate time. Gotcha.
Oh, hey Jade.
I can sense the hand of fate behind our coincidental meeting. Would you care to join me at a wedding?
A wedding? Wait, you're getting married?
No, it isn't my wedding.
Should have figured. So who's the happy couple? Friends of yours?
No, they are complete and total strangers.
Why are you going to a wedding for people you don't even know?
An acquaintance of my mother's is the one holding it. Tomorrow, in the Sunshine Lands. Floyd and I are supposed to head there today to assist with the pre-wedding ceremony. But sadly, Floyd can no longer make it due to unavoidable circumstances.
She's trying to save face.
Which has left me terribly anxious about going by myself. Dear me, what a conundrum. Now, there's no one I can turn to for help, aside from you two kindly souls. Would you be willing to join me on a trip to the Sunshine Lands?
Why should I go to some total stranger's wedding? Pass. That sounds boring.
There will be a lavish party after the wedding.
A party? Will there be food?
Of course, seafood, meat, cake, fruit, and of course, a plethora of famous delicacies from around the region. And you'll be able to enjoy plenty of sightseeing in the Sunshine Lands when you're not helping with the ceremony.
Now you're talking. Sign me up for that. You're in too, right, you?
I'd love to go. I would. I love cake.
Thank you kindly. Now, I'm even more excited, less anxious about assisting.
We better get to back to Ramshackle, you. There's a lot of stuff we gotta pack.
It's settled. Please meet me in the mirror chamber in an hour.
An hour? That ain't nowhere nowhere near enough time to get ready.
Oh, I see. How unfortunate. In that case, we'd better call our arrangement off.
Agreement,
Oh,
not arrangement.
our agreement off. Pardon my mistake.
Oh.
Hey, you! Let's head back now and get packing already.
Ah, how reassuring. I feel so much better now that I don't have to go alone. I'll see you soon then.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, chamber. 1 hour later.
He was really muffled for the first half.
What's with the crowd?
Greetings, Trickster and Monsieur Peluchet. Were you invited here by Jade as well?
Wait, yes, you guys too? Hey, Jay! You said there wasn't anyone else you could turn to for help besides us.
I was greatly relieved to find an unexpected number of individuals at school with an excess of time on their hands.
An excess? You interrupted me, my very busy schedule, to plead with me to go. You kept moping in front of me about how the ceremony will be ruined because attendance is too low to meet rule requirements. Until I grudgingly relented and agreed to go. You're down one person because of Floyd, so you make up for it with 5 others? I fail to see how that math adds up. He invited me, claiming the wedding would be more classy for my presence.
If he's reached out to this many people, that's gotta be a lie too, right? Go get him, Hornton! Get back at Jade for tricking you!
No, I shall do no such thing. It's truly rare that I am invited to weddings. I was touched. Regardless of his reasons, I cannot let this opportunity pass me by. I am absolutely attending. Did Rook have an accent in the English dub?
Yeah, by the famous Matt Mercer.
Matt Mercer?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Who's that?
A famous voice actor.
Example.
Yusuke in Persona.
Hey.
Oh.
I can feel Nellius' determination. That's Crom?
Ah.
Cool. Aru with the knowledge. When Jade approached me, he said there was to be a delightful wedding, but his headcount was far too low. He claimed the soon-to-be newlyweds were feeling so sad and lonely because of that, and he pleaded with me to attend. I agreed without hesitation. After all, what could be more fulfilling than being of service on such a lovely occasion? So he adjusted his angle with each of us.
Thank you all so much. I ventured all over school, reaching out to everyone I found. But you're the only one who accepted my invitation. I'm deeply grateful for your generosity and completely open schedules.
I get the feeling we're the butt of this joke.
Oh, not at all. I feel so much better having all of you come with me. I was afraid that if I worked alone, the Forever Float would never be a success.
The Forever Float?
The Forever Float.
Never heard of it.
I can hardly blame you. It's a social event that's relatively unknown on land. To put it succinctly, it's a test of love.
Now I'm even more confused.
That was, I don't know why, that was like a really good delivery of that line. that was like.
Can you read it one more time?
like of high quality, like that would be in a show.
Read it one more time.
Basher, do your impression of it.
I can't do that tone. Like now I'm even more confused. Like I can't do that.
It's a mystery. I'm glad you liked it, Fastra.
Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah. There we go. Stick Amethyst with the Keaton emotes.
Allow me to explain in more detail.
Oh, to be continued. What do you think about that cookie guy?
I'm glad he invited so many people, although I'm not sure how I feel about different stories for every single one.
Uh-huh. Aru says, who is that black and white haired guy? I have no idea. But wherever you got those emotes from, Stick Amethyst, they're pretty good. That's all I know. The forever
old guy.
float.
I have a request. While I eat this bag of sun chips, can you take over Jade?
Sun chips.
Yeah, I have a abundance of them. So,
Yeah.
do you hear my request, that old guy?
Yes, I'd be happy to.
Throlin says,
Throlin has a really good question, actually.
wait a minute. Why does that voice sound familiar to Keaton? That's a good question, Throlin. I'll have to ask Keaton.
All right, I'll try to be away from the mic so you don't hear my crunching sounds, but you might hear them.
Okay.
A forever afloat in the mirror chamber. The forever float is based on legends about moray eels.
Moray eels have legends?
Stretching time.
Yes.
Okay.
Which was always accompanied by two such creatures. And tales about them live on to this day in the Coral Sea. One of the more popular anecdotes is about the time the morays tested the love of a mermaid who fell in love with someone of another species. The sea witch was a virtuous individual who offered consultations to merfolk dealing with personal woes. One day, she bestowed legs upon a mermaid who had fallen in love with the prince of the land above.
I know him.
When the mermaid later went on to date with the prince and boarded a rowboat, the sea witch's morays were quick to act. Legend has it, they worked together to rock the boat and overturn it.
That's what Fasha asked.
As a result of their
Would you want
deed,
Jade
the
to come to the
Maymar-
wedding? And then you said that he would.
Yeah. Go on, Jade.
As a result of their deed, the mermaid and her beloved's bond grew deeper, or so they say.
How would rocking a boat bring people closer?
Perhaps it could have been due to the suspension bridge effect.
That's what I was talking about. Remember for Jonathan and Nancy?
Yeah. I remember you saying that exact thing. Going through a somewhat thrilling experience can make one feel love that much more strongly.
That sounds weird.
That tale gave rise to a customary ceremony held before weddings. The forever float.
So it's a ceremony related.
Oh, it's a ceremony. Sorry.
So it's a ceremony related to one of the Great Seven's attendants. How fascinating.
Indeed, the ceremony's name is as romantic as the tale it originates from. If a couple can overcome this test of their love, all that's left is to float along in their voyage toward eternal happiness. The name truly conveys the sentiment behind it.
So it does. Simply hearing the name Forever Float makes me envision a happy wedding.
Exactly. But sadly, it's not a very well-known ceremony on land.
Huh? Why not?
Many people in the Coral Sea admire the tale, and the ceremony has some popularity among merfolk. But it's reserved solely for a situation like the one in the story. That is, marriage between land dweller and merfolk.
Mayor.
Yeah,
Mer. You don't say mermaid.
I
Right?
will from now on.
Okay.
There were more merfolk, like ourselves nowadays, who receive legs and come to live on land. Marriages between merfolk and land dwellers remain rather rare. There's perhaps only a single couple each year that undergoes the forever float ceremony at their wedding.
And its sheer rarity means we'd have little occasion to ever learn of it. I'm impressed such a rarely held ceremony remains a tradition. I'm curious what it entails.
First, the bride and groom to be board a small boat and row out to sea.
That rhymed.
They sail around the cove while whispering sweet nothings to one another. Then the people playing the role of mores put them through trials to test their love.
Trials? That's a rather broad term. What does that entail specifically?
It can be a wide range of things, I suppose. It depends on the inclinations of who's playing the mores at the time. Typical trials include throwing objects at the boat, splashing water over it, or chapping at it with oars.
Oh la la! What violent tribulations!
To be fair, the tradition does originate from a story of mores overturning a boat.
But surely no one actually overturns a boat with a bride and groom in it?
Many have tried, but from what I hear, it's rather difficult to overturn a boat.
They've tried? Then it is acceptable to overturn it?
Of course, in fact, so much the better if someone could pull it off like in the story. But a boat with two people in it is heavy. It would be like a whole group of adult merfolk to properly overturn it. Circling a cove doesn't take very long, so flipping a boat would be quite the challenge. Hence, it's very rare.
You said this forever, whatever, is already rare, right? So if this is rare even for that?
Yes, no one successfully flipped over a boat for the past several decades. I heard that when mores who managed that feat appeared, the wedding attendees erupted in cheers and applause.
What a strange pre-wedding ceremony. Customs can differ by region, and variety is the spice of life. Getting to experience a foreign custom I'd never be exposed to otherwise is certainly intriguing.
I've seen a forever float ceremony held in the Sunshine Lands before. I'll never forget the sight of the bride and groom screaming and clinging desperately to their wildly rocking boat. How delightful it was.
That shows that the people who board the boat are serious about it as well.
Oh yes, young me was enamored with the idea of participating in a forever float ceremony. You can imagine how thrilled I was when my mother was called 6 months ago
Not was called.
and asked if Floyd and I would play the part of the trial givers.
Did you hear what he said?
No. You can imagine how thrilled I was when my mother called 6 months ago and asked if Floyd and I would play the part of the trial givers. It was a dream come true. I agreed immediately, of course.
Mose premedite. Do you and your brother know the bride and groom?
No, we're entirely unacquainted. They're friends of my mother. Normally, the mores who play are played by friends or relatives of the newlyweds. But given the origins of the custom, it elevates the wedding's standing to have merfolk give the trials. When my mother got the request to throw the wedding, she recalled my childhood admiration of the Forever Float ceremony. We spoke with the bride and groom and had those vital roles granted to myself and Floyd.
So your presence is auspicious for them. Such things are common in traditional celebrations.
Yes, this wedding aspires to be the finest. And since those holding it have come to us for help, I want to ensure this Forever Float ceremony succeeds. That's why I'm returning to all of you to help me in Floyd's place. I'm certain that the bride and groom will be overjoyed to have you there.
Do you think they'll be overjoyed?
Yes.
After a long day of work, Throlin gets to come home. Yes, just now getting home. And watch absolute peak Gachi Akta? What is that,
Something about
Vastra?
trash people.
Trash people?
Yeah, that's all I know about it. I don't know anything about the plot.
Throlin, would you care to share?
Hardly seems trivial.
So I finished my sunship so I can take Jade back.
Oh, nice.
You've lost it. He's mine. Mirror chamber.
It seems far simpler to just bring Floyd along. You should stick to your original plan.
Oh, Riddle, you're not backing out of the trip, are you?
You have no basis for shifting Floyd's responsibilities onto me in his absence.
But you already agreed. Are you retracting your prior commitment?
Don't deflect focus. This is nothing at all like what you told me.
Floyd not attending has nothing to do with you choosing to not travel to the Sunshine Lands. What I'm asking is whether or not you're going. And by extension, whether Hartzlebuel's house warden honors his commitment.
You're just splitting hairs. But I suppose it's only right to honor my word once I've given it. Very well, I'll go.
I knew I could count on you, Riddle. And Malleus, I trust you'll be...
I've returned. Hey, Aru, you're just in time for more dubbing. I can copy and paste a summary of it since not even I can explain it properly. All right, Throlin. Had some Costco frozen food. Nice.
I had a Costco grilled cheese.
Costco hype.
You were quite interested at first, but now you seem conflicted. Is something the matter?
Why would you need to buy grilled cheese from Costco?
It was a frozen grilled cheese. It was a pack of a bunch of them. So I just got to put it into the microwave and then into the toaster and then I have a grilled cheese without having to cook it.
Gachiakata is an anime series about Rudo, a young boy framed for murder who is thrown from a floating city into the pit, a junkyard full of mutated trash monsters. He survives and joins the Cleaners, a group of rebels who fight the monsters using special weapons called Jinkies to get revenge and challenge the corrupt society that discarded him. The story explores themes of social injustice, the value of discarded things, and using one's own rage and the power of trash to fight back. That does sound pretty interesting, throw in. That sounds like it could definitely be peak. From how you have explained the situation, the bride and groom have not explicitly requested my presence at their wedding. Is it appropriate to proceed as if they did? It feels rather as if I'm inviting myself.
Why, Malleus, what a trivial thing to trouble yourself over.
It hardly seems trivial to me.
You have received a summons to this wedding. That much is plain and simple fact.
Episode 21 just dropped, so after I shower, I shall be gone for 24 minutes. Sounds good. Enjoy the episode, throw in. Trash.
Yeah.
Trash hype.
By all means, attend with pride. Besides, you may be surprised how far word could travel in the event that you turn this invitation down.
Oh.
If you decline, there may be others in the future who consider inviting you to a wedding, only to hesitate because they fear you might decline due to distaste for such ceremonies.
What? Could such misunderstandings arise?
Oh, yes. Rumors can be scary things.
I have no desire to give anyone the wrong impression. Very well. I shall accompany you to the Sunshine Lands.
Thank you kindly, Malleus. Rook, the Forever Float is a highly important ceremony preceding a wedding. If it fails to build proper excitement, I'm sure the bride and groom will be heartbroken.
Yes, that goes without saying. Such a tragedy must be averted. I'm happy to offer what assistance I may. Let us all add some flair to their special day.
I see you hardly needed any persuasion. Thank you.
Shay's got all of them dancing to his tune.
I trust you'll be attending, Grim?
You bet I am. As long as there's a feast, I'm down for anything. My henchwoman's coming too.
Bring on a buffet table.
You're my henchwoman, all right.
How wonderfully honest you are. I'll be happy to have you. Thank you, everyone. Let's make this Forever Float a success.
Let's give the couple some thrilling trials of love to make their joy all the greater.
Yes, we'll have to carefully consider what manner of trials to provide once we arrive. Say, are Silver and the others aware that you're going, Malleus? No, I haven't informed them. Jade simply brought me along to the mirror chamber. What? Won't your sudden absence cause major panic and insomnia?
Hey, we better get through the mirror then before any annoying guys show up to stop us.
I agree. This is shaping up to be a delightful trip.
Wow.
Nice.
What did I get, Mr. Cookie Guy?
A guppy gun. ×2.
We cleared book 1?
Yep.
Yay! Ultramarine City. Why are you spending your coral?
Movie. Uh,
I want the Costco grilled cheese.
サンゴの海のエタニティフロート
they're really good.
What about making a grilled cheese the old-fashioned way?
Then that requires dishes and like work.
Oh yeah.
Ultramarine City, and it also costs more money. Coral Sea Ultramarine City entrance.
Ooh, so this is the Sunshine Lands.
Yes, more specifically, Ultramarine City.
An endless expanse of blue ocean, striking cliffs stretching as far as the eye can see, a brightly shining sun overhead. Such beauty! This view is positively riveting. It does convey a certain dignity and vigor. Such scenery was sculpted by the overwhelming power of nature.
This region is said to have the world's most beautiful coastline.
Is that so? That's quite the claim. But it's gorgeous enough, I can see why.
Isn't it incredible? And seeing it from this vantage point has an altogether different impact than admiring it from underwater. Floyd and I used to sightsee along the shore before we took on our current forms. Is this supposed to be Luca?
Luca?
I don't know, but look behind him. Doesn't it kind of look like it?
Yeah, like the hills that they rode the bike down.
Yeah, this has to be. I don't remember seeing like comparisons to Luca when this event first came out, but maybe I missed them.
Yeah.
And you know, there's sea people who came up to the town, the seaside. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'd admire the beautiful view of the city
Among
while
Us.
drifting while playing Among Us.
I have a very hard time believing you two would spend time in such a peaceful manner.
They definitely must have had an angle. Isn't there a bunch of ocean you can see from Sage's Island? Why is this place so famous when others ain't?
Okay, observe more closely. Do you notice the boats out in the water? Don't they look different from the ones you see near Sage's Island?
Now that you mention it, these boats are way smaller.
They're traditional wooden fishing boats, unique to this region.
Is it safe for humans to venture out into the seas in such small vessels? Especially so far from shore.
Certainly, the Sunshine Land's fishermen are highly skilled at boating. Legend has it that long ago, a prince of this land enjoyed seafaring voyages. He was a highly capable helmsman man, and they say his exceptional steering allowed him to save a mermaid's life. The fishermen of Ultramarine City grew up hearing such tales and honed their skills competitively. They hold a great deal of pride when it comes to their seafaring prowess.
Pro fishermen are pretty impressive, huh?
Given the abundance of fish they catch, this area is well known for its seafood cuisine.
Oh, it's quite a privilege to enjoy the sea's bountiful blessings fresh out of the water.
Just so. You can look forward to some local specialty cuisine at the restaurant or the hotel we'll be staying at.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about! Just thinking about that's got me all hungry. And I'm smelling some fish around here.
You are? Ah, the fishermen are tossing some to the seagulls.
Those are fish too small for them to sell. Once, when someone took on a false form and schemed to deceive another into marrying them, the seagull revealed who they really were, saving the groom-to-be from their deceit, or so the legend claims. Hence, in ultramarine city, seagulls are treated very well since they're considered to be perceivers of truth. Even from the sea, I often saw seagulls flying over the city.
Ah, man, I'm jealous. Give me some of that fish.
Oh,
Were you so distracted by fish that you ran right into a barrel? You should be more careful, Grim.
glutton.
No.
Maybe if you weren't such a glutton.
I see a lot of wooden barrels in the area, actually. What a fitting site for a port city.
Yes, barrels are essential for seafaring. They're used for storing all manner of things on ships, food, water, and oil, to name a few.
Why barrels and not boxes?
It makes you curious, doesn't it? I did some research on the matter myself once, when I found a sunken barrel in the ocean. What I learned was that round barrels are stronger and more airtight than square boxes, making them suitable for storing liquids. They can also be rolled rather than carried, making them a convenient means of transporting heavy cargo.
I see. That's rather industrious.
I also learned they've been used as makeshift boats and buoys. For example, when a storm causes a ship to sink and its crew is cast into the sea, or when one has to urgently chase after a ship with a loved one aboard. Apparently, plenty of people have been saved by clinging to barrels.
I only could ever consider them a simple storage medium. I can see now they have far more uses than I thought.
How easy it is to imagine all these barrels being part of the townspeople's lives.
How come Jade went to all my characters?
Oh yeah, poor that old guy.
You didn't get chosen.
I was waiting for Floyd to pop up.
Yeah.
I know he's coming back in.
Yeah.
Maybe you can voice the mom.
What? Not
Because I have so
Pastra?
much Jade. I have so much Jade. He's like the main guy of the story, and that old guy has nobody. And there's literally no other characters except the mom.
He just gets to sit here and listen.
Yeah. So whenever the mom appears, you can be her, that old guy.
Want to hear how you would have done her? My fidget's back. I don't know where it came from, but it's back.
You fidget spinner?
Yeah. The little yellow one. I couldn't find it the other day, and now it suddenly appeared.
What's this
No
called?
one better. In the Coral Sea, ultramarine city entrance.
The area of the Coral Sea where Floyd and I were born is far from here. But I still feel a certain warm affinity for the Sunshine Lands.
Because you often travel here, perhaps?
No, you see, there's an organization here that supports merfolk wishing to live on land. They provide the transmutation potions that enable us to live on land free of charge. That's where Floyd, Azul, and myself all received our potions. It's also where we trained to walk on 2 feet and took classes to learn about living on land.
You have to drink potions and undergo training simply to transform? What an arduous process. Transformation potions are heavily controlled substances handled with extreme caution. Not to mention, highly expensive.
Yet this organization provides them free of charge. What a wonderful institution!
It's a bit of ways from here. but I have been to Ultramarine City several times to practice using public transportation. I can explain a bit about the area. I hope you'll find it enlightening.
Oh, I imagine we will. I'm sure we'd all like to make the most of this trip and visit many different places.
Certainly. Then let's move on, shall we?
That cookie is asleep.
That cookie, you gotta wake up and read the title.
Ultramarine City Wharf.
That ultimate cookie, why are you so sleepy?
Maybe I was just really concentrating.
Or should we maybe I give back Jade for this and then I can be the mom?
I'll do mom, but I'll stay more awake.
But that would make more sense. See, I need to hear how both of you voice the same line and see who fits it better.
Okay.
This close to the coast, you can really smell the sea breeze.
Smells like it does on Sage's Island, but this place looks all sparkly.
What's that white ship in the distance? There are a number of well-dressed humans aboard.
That ship is where the wedding we're assisting with tomorrow will take place.
Oh, a ship wedding? How quaint.
It's big enough to fit dozens of people on deck. Très bien! What a majestic sight!
It seems a couple being wed today is currently in the midst of exchanging their vows.
It's up to you, but I really liked your previous Rook voice.
Which one?
The oh, that's more how I imagine Rook to be like.
But then why did they give him an accent?
I guess because Matt Mercer wanted to, or they told him to. But like this Rook also, the one that you're doing now has its charm, but you know, it's what feels better for you.
Okay.
I can't see none of that. They're all little specks to me.
The calm waters sparkle in the sunlight, and the sky is an expanse of deep, beautiful blue. The gleaming ship bathes the happy couple in a light that makes them shine as though the very sun itself is celebrating their union. This beautiful sight could well have come straight out of a painting. Bote.
Yeah, because that voice, it also sounds closer to the Japanese voice.
Uh-huh.
The tone encapsulates the Japanese voice better.
Okay. I believe their vows are finished. Now the ship's slowly beginning to move. It seems to be making for the open seas.
Yes, and soon they'll hold a party on board. They're quite lovely affairs, with fireworks, live music, and dancing.
I see a rowboat docked at the wharf just up ahead. Is that unrelated to the wedding?
That's the vessel used for the Forever Float. You can see the cove the couples circle there on the left. It's a beautiful cove, one long considered a perfect spot for a date. That's why it was chosen as the place to conduct the Forever Float.
The rowboat is so lavishly decorated. What a fitting vessel for a pre-wedding ceremony. Because
You'll
my
each
Pikmin
be-
says I only took 1,700 steps today. But, you know, we took more if you count, like, pedaling as steps.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. You'll each be riding a smaller, one-man craft.
One boat per person? I was expecting us all to share a boat.
Taking separate boats gives us more options for romantic trials. Speaking of which, we should all take care out on the water to avoid capsizing ourselves. Since you can't use magic, I would hate to expose you to any such danger. As it happens, the organizer has requested we handle another highly important job. What would you say to staying on land and taking commemorative photos of the newlyweds? Can think of no one better for the job.
Sure, I can be the photographer.
Yeah. That's what I would have picked.
Thank you. There are no photos more wonderful than those of newlyweds smiling and striving together to overcome their trials. I greatly look forward to the delightful expressions they're bound to make.
Delightfully say definitely see more.
I think you're looking to capture their utter desperation instead.
Oh, yes. There's one more thing I need to ask you all.
Costumes. An utter disaster. Uh-oh. Ultramarine City on the wharf.
Oh, yes, there's something I need to ask of you. Oh. Do any of you have experience rowing a boat?
Oui, I do. All the time I spend out in the nature includes a great deal of fish hunting and fishing. I've also sailed in the open sea several times.
Wonderful, Rook. I'm impressed your skills extend to rowing as well.
I have no such experience. It's faster to fly than to take a boat. And even if I were to board such a vessel, I'd never need to row it by hand. I could simply control it with magic. Ah, but there is enjoyment to be found in slowly advancing across the water while rowing yourself. Roi des Dragons. Hydrate time, gotcha.
I am. I forgot about my chocolate milk just sitting here.
Oh, really?
Mmm.
Vastra,
Yeah. Did you already read this?
I've never manned one. Neither the time nor the occasion to do so has ever presented itself.
My, what a terrible shame.
What about you? A merman like yourself should have as little need for a boat as Malleus. Aren't you just as inexperienced as I am?
Quite the opposite, actually. I had ample opportunity to practice rowing a boat as the Sunshine Lands institution at the I intended.
A merman traveling in helmsmanship? Whatever for?
Merfolk who have just come onto land often struggle back in the water. If one stays calm, of course, one can swim with human legs. But between things like overconfidence and getting used to a new form, we tend to fall back on our merfolk mentality and often flounder in the water as a result. So we were given time in our schedules to ride rowboats and learn what being on the water is like for land dwellers.
Fascinating. This institute is certainly insightful about the needs of merfolk.
That brings us to Malleus and Riddle. The two of us were even greater for the amateurs than I, a merman.
Yes! That old guy, did you know you inspired a new way of saying it?
I just reminded you of a better way to say it.
What was he even saying?
They're both amateurs.
Oh yeah. It would be utter gold. I mean, an utter disaster. If you two were to collide and overturn. At the
Hey,
start of tomorrow's ceremony.
maybe you should get more rest.
Would you like to get in some practice today? I could teach you.
I feel as though you're having fun at our expense, but I do agree that we would benefit from practice. Likewise, preparing as much as possible for the main event tomorrow is a sound suggestion. Shall we board a boat now?
Actually, we have one other order of business.
Codes!
So
Father!
think of like a mixture visually of Jade and Floyd and a kind of very elegant lady.
Yes, that old guy can nail that.
So what kind of voice would you give to that description?
Oh, my, is that you, Jade?
Oh my, is that you, Jade? That's my best attemption.
Oh, my, is that you, Jade?
Like, the kind of like like that kind of voice, but I can't really do that.
Oh, my, is that you, Jade?
That's pretty good. Now there she is. Now that old guy can really hone his voice. Oh yeah, she does look like them.
You arrived so early. I hope I haven't made you wait long.
And what's like fun to see is she does like how each character has their own unique like little movement gesture.
Yeah.
She does both Floyd's and Jade's. Like Floyd kind of puts his hand out to the side.
Yeah.
Like, and Jade kind of does what she's doing now.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah. Excellent timing. I was just about to call you.
Monsieur Premitete, may I ask who this is?
This is my mother.
She's even taller than Jade. She's like 2 riddles tall.
I'm not that short!
Oh, Jade, would you be so kind as to introduce me to your companions?
Of course. These are my dear friends from Night Raven College.
Dear friends? Oh, are we now? We are the finest of friends.
Goodness, I wish you'd told me you were bringing friends ahead of time. Hello, everyone. Oh, wonderful to see my son has so many good friends.
She has an accent a little bit.
My name is Georgina Leach, and it's a pleasure to meet you all.
How do you do? I'm Rook Hunt, and the pleasure is entirely mine, madam.
Yes, what a delightfully courteous greeting.
Malleus Draconia, pleased to make your acquaintance.
Oh my, I'm meeting the soon-to-be ruler of Briar Valley. This is quite the honor.
How do you do? My name is Riddle Rosehearts.
Oh, so you're Riddle. You're Jade's classmate, yes? He's told me so much about you.
Huh?
Jade, what did you tell her?
Oh, simply the unvarnished truth.
Have you ever told the truth in your life?
He's lucky to have someone like you in his life.
I'm the great grand future mage extraordinaire!
That's quite impressive. It's wonderful to meet you, Grim.
See, there's the Floyd gesture.
Oh, I see.
I'm you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Throwing.
Throwing.
He said he'd be gone for 24 minutes. It's been 24 minutes.
Come now. There's no need to be so formal. That cookie guy, please read my line.
That cookie guy. What are you doing?
Did his phone run out, you think?
Maybe.
Oh, you're muted.
He must be discussing some cookie
I don't know
guy
how that
matters.
happened. I read it. I've read the line twice already.
Oh,
Here we go.
That cookie.
Come now. No need to be so formal. The pleasure's mine. Oh, speaking of your friends, Jade, I don't see Azul anywhere.
Azul said he didn't wish to see you.
Oh.
Oh, did he now? That is Azul, always holding himself back and standing on ceremony.
Yes, just so. You should speak with him at length. The next time he visits home. I'm certain Azul would love that.
So I shall. I see Floyd as also conspicuously absent.
Something came up at the last minute, and he sadly couldn't make it. I apologize for not informing you sooner.
Dear me. Well, our Floyd certainly hasn't changed, has he? And here I prepared so much because I was excited to see my two sons again after so long. Very well. I'll inform my friend.
She's fine with that. Jade's mother seems to have a very calm and unruffled demeanor.
And she's used to having two totally unpredictable guys for sons by now.
Dun, 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 dun. Throwlin, where are you? I can't go long without Throwlin in the chat. I need some Throwlin. Did you hear he got gifted a sub on Cake is Suffering's channel?
Ah.
And they were like, oh, it went to Throwlin!
Aww.
Because when he first came, they were like, how do I say your name? Is it Throwlin? And then he typed it out, and then she was like, oh, okay, that's good. That's how I said it. And then when he got gifted, then the guy said, oh, it went to Throwlin! So Throwlin got gifted a sub.
Nice.
Modest hospitality.
And tourism.
The ultramarine city, Wharf.
Wharf.
My plan for the Forever Float is to enlist the aid of
Float ceremony conducted by a moray, merman, and his friends. I'm sure the newlyweds will love it.
Why did the OBS show the confused man for a second?
What?
Yeah, it did. It's like, and then went back.
Codes, do you know what she's talking about?
I did not see it
Like
because
when there's no.
When
since
what?
I'm on Discord and I'm not directly viewing the stream. I didn't see it.
Like when the OBS crashes and it shows the guy with his head in his hands.
You mean not like this?
Yeah, that. It says that.
Codes, what do you see?
I don't.
You don't?
I'm not, I can see the stream, I can see the Discord, and I don't see anything except Talking Cookie and Quasimodo Football and Kirby.
It's the small man in between them.
I see a little tiny creature up in the top left.
No. In the chat right next to Christmas Fob 1.
Okay, let me see. Oh, like a ghost Kirby?
No. Go into Twitch chat or go into Google and search not like this.
What?
That cookie confused.
I'm just gonna continue.
Yeah.
Ooh.
With that settled, I suppose some preparations are in order.
What?
What?
What? Like robo practice and stuff?
That's certainly necessary. But I must insist on showing Jade's friends some modest hospitality.
In tourism.
While your Night Raven College school uniforms are lovely formal attire, this is a wedding. I would very much like you all to enjoy yourselves while wearing something a touch more glamorous. I'm certain you'll have an even lovelier time that way.
The accents just kind of come and go.
A wonderful accent.
It does sound nice, but it's rather short notice to get us all new clothes, isn't it? I wouldn't wish to impose.
Oh, don't worry. I'll borrow some dress suits from the wedding venue.
It's run by an acquaintance of my father. From what I understand, my father provided support and accommodations when the business was first established. So if we asked to borrow some clothes, I think they would happily oblige.
Then we owe Mr. Leech our gratitude as well. Will he be attending the wedding?
Sadly, my husband won't be able to make it. He simply couldn't get out of his work obligations.
What's he do for a living anyway?
Oh, this and that.
This and that?
Yes, this and that.
Wait,
I stole your line.
yes, this and that.
Now that that's cleared up, please do accept my other offer. I'll pick the perfect outfit for each of you myself.
Truly, I saw Grim move, so I assumed it was Grim talking.
Grim just does that sometimes. You gotta accept it.
Truly, thank you.
Goomy Yumi with the raid! Let's
Hey!
go! Thank you! You're epic. What were you doing again? Hi. Hello. Oh, you were playing
Hollow Knight?
Hollow Knight, right? You were playing the first Hollow Knight game? It wasn't Silk Song, if I remember correctly. We were playing Hollow Knight, yeah. Nice. How far'd you get? If you were gonna put a percentage on your completion?
How many times did you hear, ah, baba lava? I forgot the exact phrase. It's like, baba lava.
What?
Like, there's this, like, ladybug that, I mean, not like a girl bug, not like a ladybug.
Uh-huh.
And she's like a shop person,
Yeah.
and every time they speak like sim language, it's like,
Oh.
baba lava.
I didn't know that. We beat up 2 bosses real good. I'm not sure how far I am overall, though. Nice. Good job on beating those 2 bosses. That game looked really interesting. Just like the movement and the characters, the enemies you were fighting, and the attacks that you were doing and stuff. It looks pretty cool. So I've never really given Hollow Knight a chance.
It's very satisfying to watch.
Yeah.
I've only Hanbuel played it for a few hours, so I saw like the first like 2 or 3 hours of the game.
Oh, cool. The bosses beat me up back, though, to be honest. Oh. So you had to work for it, huh? You had to earn that victory. It was hard fought. Well, thank you again for the raid. And it was, that was very epic. And hope you have, if you need to go now, then you can, oh, these guys on the screen look like a VTuber boy group.
Yes.
You're so right, Gumi. Holy moly. Look at them all being VTubers. And they have different expression toggles.
Yes.
Yeah, you're so right.
Which one's your Oshi?
We've just been dubbing this game because it has voiced stories, but the side events stories are not voiced, so we provide all the voices. So we're essentially dubbing the entire story. So that's what we were in the middle of doing. Guy with hat is my Oshi. Easy. His name is Rook. And here's how he sounds. Considering your own fashion sense, I've little doubt you'll make wonderful selections for us.
Have you ever heard of the VTuber Magni Desmond? There's been comparisons to him.
Yeah.
Especially with his recently released birthday card. He has a different hairstyle with the bangs, and it's. I saw a post on Twitter saying like, like doing. Yeah.
I want to see it now. Rest in peace, the great Magni Desmond. Yep. He will always be one of the greats. Gone, but never forgotten Maglord. Exactly. What is that sound?
That would be water. Sorry.
Loud water. Have fun with your stream, Bob. Thank you. Thank you again for the raid. And if you gotta go now, have a good night. Hope your stream was awesome. Deferring to a mermaid's aesthetic could be an entertaining diversion. I look forward to seeing what you choose. All right, we can't turn down your generosity.
Excellent. Let's be off then.
Oh, Keaton Hurwitz! Just changed his hair to half black, half white. Oh, is that Riddles?
Yeah.
Riddles looking sharp. With the coral. Riddle has a snatched waist. Malia-sama. Oh, his hair. Half on, half off.
Oh yeah.
Nice shells as buttons. Is that Jade, Floyd, or Leech?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. It also has a shell.
I knew my judgment was spot on. You all look absolutely marvelous. Thank you, ma'am. You hardly need to thank me. I quite enjoyed picking everything out. The light pink accessories look especially nice on you. You really are a little shrimp, just like I heard.
See, that's what Floyd calls the main character, Little Shrimp.
Uh-huh.
So that's where she's just like I've heard is from Floyd. Koebi-chan.
Uh-huh.
Just like you've heard.
Hey, enough fawning over my hand human. Get a load of this.
Hey. What if they put a little suit on him?
How do I look? The color and design of this ribbon are super cool, right?
I had seen on Twitter that he didn't have a bow.
What?
So I guess they fixed it?
I guess
I don't know.
Oh ho, it suits you rather nicely. It adds a touch of flair while still looking suitably formal. Mebelu! The lace on the silky fabric resembles... What? Resembles? What does that mean? Silky fabric resembles rippling waves. How truly adorable!
Keep those compliments coming. No, it ain't adorable, it's cool.
You look positively darling. I'm so glad you like my choice. How do the rest of you like your outfits? I do hope it suits everyone's taste.
Marvelous! I'm honored to wear such a beautiful suit. Thank you, Madam Leech. It's also suitably formal for someone involved in a ceremony. I quite like my attire as well. It truly feels fitting for celebrating the newly wedded couple. Are these Keaton-themed outfits or what?
They are.
Is it black and white or am I colorblind?
It is.
Okay, good.
And you're colorblind.
Oh look, he just said it. The balance of white and black is just right. That's how I feel about Keaton. Black is considered the most noble of colors in Briar Valley. But white is evocative of a sandy beach. And using both is like commingling of different cultures. This isn't bad at all. The frock coat is very classy. I quite like the dignified look of the tailoring. It's so elegant, the way the ruffles on the cuffs sway as though adrift in the waves.
Hearing such praise makes all the time I spent reviewing our options worthwhile. Having a guest as famous as you at their wedding is bound to delight the newlyweds.
Is that so? I'm pleased to hear that, and I'm grateful for the invitation. Thank you once more for selecting these beautiful ensembles for each of us.
You're very welcome. And yours looks lovely on you, Riddle.
C'est excellent! The combination of a short jacket with a red vest gives you a refined air.
The red sash and wide leg pants add a flattering element of looseness to your sharp silhouette.
Yes, it's vibrant, yet comfortable. The red coral accessories are also quite tasteful. Are those real?
Oh, yes. Those are sourced and crafted from natural coral from the Coral Sea. In the Sunshine Lands, accessories for weddings are always made from the genuine articles, never imitations.
Is that because, in the legends, someone used a false appearance to deceive a groom into marrying them?
Talk about that story Jade mentioned when we saw the seagull?
Yes. In the tale, not only did the imposter give themselves a different appearance, but they also had a voice very similar to the groom's betrothed.
Yes, just so. Using genuine materials is not so much a matter of etiquette or formal appearance. It's a gesture meant to protect the newlyweds from lies and deception.
Fascinating. So there's a regionally specific reason for every ornament we're wearing. Nonetheless, each ensemble suits us perfectly as individuals. You have impeccable taste, madam. Indeed. You have such a keen understanding of us. One would find it hard to believe this is the first time we've met.
My. It's hardly anything so grand. I've simply had a few insights shared with me regarding your visual style.
Insights?
Visual styles?
Oh,
Rook!
I got him!
Keaton Hurwitz's Rook.
愛し合う二人がさらに強い絆で結ばれるように必ずエタニティフロートを成功させよう
We must make the
That's
friend
pretty
a
close to your
success
voice.
to ensure the happy couple's bond is ever stronger.
You see what I mean? Like, your English voice is like exactly the tone I'd imagine his English sounding.
Yeah, he just randomly speaks French.
Yeah.
It's like Marty saying shiny.
Yeah. Hey, let me do the things.
Okay.
Oops. Oh, I was in the wrong section. There he is. Oh. I got an excellent.
実に素晴らしい
Nice.
No 何も言わなくていいもう君の瞳を見るだけで心の声が伝わってくるからね 今ならどんなターゲットでも手に入れられそうだ試しに逃げてみるかい
Nice.
メルシーお招きありがとう 隅から隅までこの部屋の美しさを目に焼き付けさせてもらう。
Alright, you ready for the satisfying all at once?
Yes. Hey.
Yay!
Let's go.
Oops. So this is what's in the to try to get, but I won't be pulling for this.
You won't?
No, because
You're trolling, Fastra. Fastra Ann. Oops.
Wait, what? This guy is
Vargas.
way earlier than I thought.
Right. In
Because I was
December?
I was saving for Overblot Malleus, which will be coming out soon. But this guy's coming out. So
Huh?
Thrulin's back!
Yup, he says peak episode. Nice, Throlin. Glad you enjoyed it.
Earlier, Christmas Bob said he missed you.
Miniature vacation. Oh, I know he does. Ah, Throlin. You know me.
Yeah, he's calling out for you. He's like, Throlin, are you back yet?
Ultramarine City, Wharf.
Worf.
Floyd's informed our mother of the pet names he uses for all of you.
Pet names? You mean...
Kingyo-chan.
Sorry. Little Shrimpy.
You're definitely a dead ringer for a strip, you.
You, Grim.
Grim's pet name is Seely, which Mother is already well aware of.
Yes, though I actually modeled the design of Grimm's ribbon on Moray's, the stars of the Forever Float ceremony.
Now now the voice has become your Sebek voice. I actually modeled.
Okay. So my outfit isn't based on any of those ridiculous nicknames.
It isn't, no. After all, with your fur and cute little tummy, you're practically a seal already.
Huh? What are you talking about? I don't look nothing like that.
Okay, easy there.
I believe Floyd's pet name for me was Seagull. Then my gorgeous suit must have been designed with the black-tailed gull in mind, which only deepens my appreciation for it. Indeed, I can see it now. The color scheme and the golden adornments on the necklace are quite evocative of said creature.
Huh? Those thingies on his necklace just look like regular old birds to me.
This is indeed based on the black-tailed gull, a beautiful bird that is white from head to collar, with black tail feathers and wings. Though similar in appearance to their more common gull kin, what truly sets the black-tailed variant apart is its distinct mewing call.
What sort of bird meows? That's just confusing.
Black-tailed gulls glide gracefully through the air, but are also incredibly strong fighters. They are a perfect fit for Rook's beautiful yet adventurous demeanor.
Your praise makes my heart soar, madam. I take my hat off to your transcendent aesthetic sense. Pet names, What does he call me?
He calls you Sea Slug. You would do well to remember that in the future.
A slug in the sea? Where does he come up with all these confusing nicknames?
It explains so much if this ensemble was inspired by sea slugs. The detail work is a perfect fit.
Wait, you know what those things are, Rook? Now I'm getting curious. Look them up on your phone, you.
Wow, these are just like Horton.
What? You claim we share a resemblance?
The things that look like horns are actually feelers. Seal slugs are mollusks, like the joke that Marlin from Nemo was talking about.
Yes. Shellfish. It's odd that this would be like a shellfish, but this attire does incorporate several small shells.
Huh. So this fluttery, rubbery, weird little guy's a sea slug? It looks totally laid back. Other than the horns, I ain't seeing any resemblance to Hornton.
Oh, really? Sea slugs are charming, beautiful creatures that drift elegantly through the seas. But if you touch one carelessly, it's the last mistake you'll ever make. They're extremely poisonous to the touch.
Oh.
They're poisonous? Dang, those guys are bad news. Now that's just like Hornton.
Nonetheless, it's generally accepted that as long as you don't initiate any aggression against them, they won't bother you either.
So as long as you don't touch them carelessly, you're fine? Well then, they seem relatively harmless.
Assuming you can somehow manage to steer clear of them, that is.
Sea slugs are yet another thing I've learned about today. Human pet names can be so quaint. I know the derogatory name Floyd uses for me.
Do you remember that cookie guy?
Rum. No.
I think they translate it as goldfishy.
Oh, that's right.
familiar.
But, you know, the Japanese is Kingyo-chan.
Uh-huh. I never could have imagined I'd end up wearing a goldfish-inspired suit.
Are you just like goldfish?
No, that's not it at all. And there's nothing wrong with my outfit either. I quite like it, in fact. It's just, he calls me that because I'm tiny and red, by his description.
Oh, is that a fact? That boy. You'll have to forgive his lack of manners. But that's not the only thing good goldfish are known for, you know. The goldfish people keep in their homes are small, but when they're left to grow in the wild, I hear some can grow into giants.
Giants? So goldfish have room to grow. Jade, why did you laugh just now?
Oh, I was just reflecting on how unconstrained the human heart is to be able to embrace all manner of wild dreams. But I must say, it's so wonderfully delightful seeing you all clad in attire chosen to suit Floyd's pet names for you. Would that Floyd had given me a pet name as well. Now I'm a tad bit envious.
It's pretty obvious he'd just call you Moray.
Pet name or no, one look and it's clear what your attire is themed after.
True. Once again, Mother, thank you for selecting such wonderful attire. I love all of it, from head to toe.
No, thank you. I'm happy you like it.
Is his attire meant to embody the moray eels who gave the original lovers their trial?
That's right. I selected his ensemble from the venue in advance, in anticipation of the Forever Float ceremony. It's a highly formal affair when moray mermen conduct the ceremony. So it's important to be very selective about what they wear to ensure an unforgettable experience for newlyweds.
Marvelous! How beautifully this ensemble elevates Jade's air of mystery. The lapels make it look as if you have one of the sea witch's morays on either shoulder. Even the coloring makes it look as though we're gazing into the sea's depths.
Thank you for your generous praise.
The scarf is also reminiscent of a moray undulating through the current. It's quite an elaborate outfit.
Hey, is your hairstyle differently too?
Of course, I styled it to suit what I was wearing. After all, this will be a once-in-a-lifetime ceremony for the newlyweds. I've actually been practicing this hairstyle since I heard about the ceremony plans. I admit I wasn't entirely certain about sweeping up my bangs, but this way I'll have a clearer field of vision when it's time to give the couple trials.
So the change is for both form and function.
Almost didn't recognize you.
Truly? Then you'll need to get to know me better, won't you? Now that we've changed clothes, I'm even more excited for the Forever Float. We must ensure the couple's trials are every bit as spectacular as our attire. What?
Slippery little ultramarine city wharf. Oh, yes. Was getting your outfits. I also booked a place for you to stay.
I'm so sorry we arrived without notifying you ahead of time. I wasn't expecting Leech to bring us without a single word to you about our visit.
It completely slipped my mind, but don't surprise mishaps add to the excitement of the trip.
You never change, do you, Jade? You always find love. You always did love finding ways to put me on the spot. But don't worry. Your hotel is on a hill with a gorgeous view.
That sounds lovely. My heart swells with anticipation at the thought of what grand scenery await us.
Would that be the hotel run by the owner of the wedding venue? Ultramarine City has plenty of resort hotels, but that one is particularly popular. I'm impressed you managed to book any rooms there.
You have Papa to thank for that. Be sure to do so next time you see him, won't you?
That's also the location of the reputable seafood restaurant I mentioned before, so you can all look forward to that.
Oh, yes. You did mention something about famous regional cuisine.
That's gonna be good. I can't wait. What the what? Hey, I just saw some yummy looking crabs over by the seashore.
How wonderful! You should catch one, Grim. If you do, we can have it cooked up and served for dinner tonight.
Really? That sounds cool.
cool indeed. As a matter of fact, crabs are what the restaurant is famous for. The crabs in the area are clever and quick. They're quite difficult for land dwellers to catch barehanded. Thus, hand-caught crabs are considered a special delicacy here. When the venue owner saw this, he came up with an idea to have the guests catch their own crabs and bring them in, at which point the head chef cooks them and serves them.
Now that's the main star of their menu.
Oh man, fresh caught crab. That sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna catch me some crab. Yeah! Yeah! They run fast!
Do you even know what you're doing? Here, I'll catch one. This is rather difficult. It got away again! Slippery little...
How goes it? Have you bitten off more than you can chew?
It's moving a lot.
Grrr. Uh-oh. Riddle's gonna blow a gasket!
Roi des Roses, Monsieur Peluchet! You should never assume catching a creature in the wild will be an easy feat. No matter how small one may be, a hunt is still a serious contest between predator and prey. Analyze the crab's behavioral patterns, calculate the moment it will stop moving, then grab it from where it can't see you.
Dang! You got it in one try!
Voila! Amazing. You made it look so easy. I won't be outdone. Next time... There! Got it! Is it that difficult? Allow me to try. That was simple enough.
Yeah, you did that like it was nothing.
If the Roi des Dragons put his mind to it, I'd wager this bay would be crabless in no time. Riddle's really trying.
You remember when this event first came out, I sent you a little clip of him trying to get the crabs.
Yep, I remembered that.
Man!
Hey, Codes.
Hey. Man. Ultramarine City Wharf.
When do you think they'll ever leave the wharf?
Now then, I would love to see Monsieur Premedité in action. So would I, actually.
Me? Goodness, I certainly hope I can live up to your expectations.
He just thrust his hand into the water.
Here, my catch.
You caught two at once? You can't even see any crabs in the water.
Crabs favor rocky terrain. If you pay attention to the way the waves move, you can roughly gauge where they are.
Still, catching two in an instant shows remarkable swiftness, Monsieur Premedité.
Would you care to try? There's one right over there.
Come here, you.
My goodness, you succeeded on your first try. Perhaps you have a gift for crab catching. Would you care to try for something larger sometime?
Man! I'ma get me a crab! Just you wait and see! Oh, there's one hiding behind that rock. I'll jab it with my paw real quick and... It pinched me!
I'm glad you liked it. I put my all into it. Oh la la! Are you alright, Monsieur Peluche?
Well, I technically still got it. Ow.
Oh, the tears in his eyes.
Yep.
Masterfully done, Grim. Using yourself as bait is truly a unique method of catching one.
I'll bring your haul to the chef.
Thank you.
Can't wait to have me a giant crab feast for dinner.
Mother, could you arrange 4 boats for us to practice with?
Certainly, I don't mind. Would you give me some time to get the boats out of storage and bring them to the wharf?
Of course. We'll take in the sights of Ultramarine City in the meantime.
That's a lovely idea. I'll book you a carriage.
Thank you.
A carriage?
A carriage? What the
Yes. Sightseeing tours by carriage are quite popular here. Given the city's location on thin stretches of land along the coastline, roads can get quite narrow and winding. It isn't exactly automobile friendly, so sightseeing from carriages instead has become more the fashion.
Ah, so it's geographical constraints. Carriages are a fine fit for Ultramarine City's beautiful scenery.
Agreed. They're practical, and the ones here have a distinctive local design. The area's leisurely atmosphere may be the reason behind its popularity as a vacation resort.
There are 2 carriages approaching.
That's you, Mr. Cookie Guy.
All aboard when you're ready.
4-wheeled carriages drawn by a single horse? I suppose 2 were booked since we can't all fit in one.
I believe our tour is starting. We'll see you soon, Mother.
Do take care. See you soon, everyone.
That's all
All
for
right,
you.
giddy up. Come on, Bessie. Get on now.
We did it. We have reached what's currently available.
What?
Yeah.
ようこそ
ミスター S のミステリー
ショッ
プへ。
プへ。
ボペレペレ、えい。
お目が
Are you
Okay.
gonna do any polls, or are you truly gonna wait?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
Thank you.
Vargas is coming out soon. I need every Vargas. And hopefully, I was thinking maybe whenever he does come out, we could read
Hey, Komi-chan. 欲しいもの。
we could read Coach Vargas. I mean Camp Vargas.
Yes.
So because he won't come unless he's seen that we've read all his stories.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where's my new background?
Say that in Grimm's voice.
It's my new background.
Hey, here's my new background. Nah, Sarah's better. Astro's better.
That's why you can't appear on Keaton Hurwitz's trees. Tap it faster.
What? So you can't. Did it change? Is that the background now?
Uh-huh.
All
I
right.
only this guy, so I guess he'll be my background.
Yes. I'm so glad you think so. Where's my new background? Roland voice. Ooh, that's interesting.
また披露してもらいたいものだね。
Get him to say that
Throwing
again.
voice.
Yeah, the Throwland voice.
I don't know what the Throwland voice is.
Well, ask Throwland.
Throwland, what's a Throwland voice?
A voice that not even I can understand how I do it. Nice Throwland voice.
新しい魔法薬の研究
I said I unlocked some new furniture.
Oh.
That's it. Oh, I'll build this chair. Oh, I can't build jade anymore. Because I'm out of metal.
No, Fastra.
Okay. Alright. That is all we can do for now.
What does Rook think about that?
Bingo.
It makes him want to watch the best in jest.
Yes.
So shall we end it here?
Get a Thanksgiving bundle.
I
Can't.
何をお求め？こういちゃう。
don't want to pay for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and then the only one with free gems isn't worth it. It's just these random items that I don't use hardly.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to do my Duolingo really quick, okay? No matter what you decide to do,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Mm-hmm. Alright, so what do you want to do?
Is there any other side stories we can do?
I'm one with
What? Hello.
Hello!
I'm Yuki. It's nice to meet you. And I just started playing Twisted Wonderland and I'm a female streamer. You play Twisted Wonderland too? Nice, Yuki and 19. That's epic.
Who's your favorite character?
That's cool that you stream. Oh, I see you stream Twisted Wonderland too. Oh, you dubbed it. You said, wow, that's amazing. That was cool.
We need that cookie guy to read the title.
Blissful ignorance.
Leona, Malleus, and Ace. Those are nice choices. But you're still in book 1.
Oh.
Ooh. You're in for a really good story, and like if you're enjoying book one, it gets really good. Like it's already good in book one, but just imagine it. It it if you stick through it, it's worth it. Where's this taking place?
In Noble Bell College in Bell Tower Interior.
少し冷え込むな。それに日の出の時間が日ごとに遅くなっている。
I didn't know his voice.
Uh-huh.
You still want to watch this one?
Yeah.
この時期はいい。教室でバカな生徒たちのヨタ話に付き合う時間も短く済ませよう。
Chachilay,
今日も皆が目覚める前に
Yup.
やるべきことを済ませよう。それにあの煩わしい奴らに見つかってしまってはたまらないからな。
What the?
うるさいぞ。忌々しいガーゴイルどもめ。はしゃいで飛び回るなどなんと品のない。少しはおとなしくしないかね。
Comment.
Oh. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that, and I will do my best. Is it okay if you'll be my friend in the game? What do you say, Fastra?
Yeah.
You want to make a new Twisted friend?
Yes. I have a really cool Lilia. As a cool, yeah.
ああ、貴様らの手入れは次の休日にしてやる。やり始めたことを放棄するのは我慢ならないのでね。分かったらもうどこかに行ってしまえ。私には大切な仕事があるんだ。やっと言ったか。まったく本当に厄介な奴らだ。魔力で動いているというだけでもおぞましいのに、あの騒がしさときたら兵糧を守る存在でなければあんな石の塊など無視してやったところだ。そう思わないかね。救いの鐘よ。今日も実に美しいな。皆があなたのようだったらどんなにいいだろう。なるべき時になり、沈黙すべき時に沈黙する。こんなに正しく確かなことはない。ああ、もうすぐ日が昇る。鐘つき係が来る前に掃除を済ませてしまう。どうか今日も美しい響きを聞かせてくれ。救いの鐘よ。
You're like really far away sounding.
Even right now?
Oh, not now.
Oh, okay.
どうか今日も美しい響きを聞かせてくれ。救いの鐘よ。やっと昼の休憩時間になった。ここならば不快な魔法師どもの話も聞こえてこない。一息つくとしよう。
会長、こちらでしたか。探しましたよ、ロロ会長。こんなところで昼食をとっていたなんて。
君か。
ロロ会長、お昼はパンを召し上がっているんですね。食堂でも見かけないの
What'd you
で
hear?
知りませんでした。
Oh, I forgot to go to my friend code.
Oh yeah, here's my player ID, 1ZDJ16FG. And I got the SR Malleus from the Gotcha event too, first try.
Ooh.
Nice stuff.
As soon as I finish this this story, I'll go to the friends place.
ああそうだクロワッサン2つにブドウを16粒それにカフェオレを1杯きっかりそれだけ365日毎日の決まった昼食だ
毎日毎日同じメニューなんですか？
定めていれば無駄な欲望に駆られずに済むすがすがしくてとてもいいぞ君にもおすすめしよう
僕には無理ですすぐに飽きてしまいそうですし
理解を得られなくて残念だそれより私に何か用があったのではないのかね
あ、はい先ほど先生がロロ会長を探していらっしゃいました先日会長が提出された本の感想文を新聞に載せてもいいか至急確認したいそうです
新聞もしや私が長官を取っている奇跡の国新報のことかね
はいあんなに大きな新聞に掲載されるなんてすごいですさすがはロロ会長今日も授業で会長だけが魔法薬学のテストを満点で返されたと聞きました
大したことではない
ご謙遜をこの前も育成の難しい水生の魔法植物の花まで咲かせたとか先生が感動していましたよ本当に尊敬しますロロ会長ほど優れた知識を持つ魔法師はこの学園にいません
Oh, oops.
Oh, I didn't notice you turned on the camera.
Yeah, I did. Throwin says, who's that handsome man on the bottom left corner? I'll throw in. Oh, I saw this event on YouTube. It looks so cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I've definitely enjoyed dubbing it.
Yeah, we dubbed the whole thing back on its rerun, like 2 months ago, a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was it?
I think 2 months ago.
Okay, yeah. All the VODs are on YouTube.
Yeah.
そうかね
そうかね。
こともあったものだな
どうかしましたか？
気にしないでよいそれよりも連絡ご苦労世話をかけたない
えそれよりもせっかくですから僕もこちらで昼食をご一緒しても
いやもうすぐ食べ終わるところなのでねすぐに先生のところに向かおう悪いがお先に失礼する会食は次の機会にするとしよう
そうですかそれではまた今度お誘いしますね
Global Bell College Lecture Hall.
なものだ私が何を考えているか知らずにああも気安くああそれどころではない職員室に向かおう
All right, Yukian. How do you say your name?
私たちのディナーを作ったシェフは歌いな
Search. Player ID. It is 1Z D J 16 F G. Eh? Ah. Yee. Yeah, Malleus sings in the event. So Yuki. Nice name. Last Rolo one.
Konnichiwa. はい、そうです。いつもの便箋と封筒のセットを。ええ、真っ白なものを一つ。私もそう思いますよ。たとえ時代錯誤と言われようと、手紙は良いものだ。はい、そうです。いつもの便箋と封筒のセットを。ええ、真っ白なものを一つ。メールや電話のような便利さはないが、時間をかけた分、不用意な言葉を使わずに済む。
Message. I Ah.
Eh? このセットに似た他のメーカーの安いものがある。いや、いつもの通りで結構。途中で手紙の様式を変えてはどうにも座りが悪い。物事は一貫していなければならないのでね。はい、確かに。いつもありがとうございます。ではまた。
Happy you like my name. That's okay. That makes sense. Yeah, it makes me think of Yuki from Vampire Knight. And Yuki also means courage, I believe.
善良な店主だ。さすがは正しき判事を愛する町の住人、ノーブルベルカレッジの生徒として、私も見習わなくても。この町は過ごしやすい。人もいいし、景観も素晴らしい。しかしこの美しい花たちも、元をたどれば、魔力によって保たれている。花。魔力。
Yeah, with one U, like Yuki is snow, and then Yuki is courage. Pretty nice.
Sounds like cereal.
What cereal you chomping on?
Oh, it's in game.
What'd you say?
I said it's in game riddle.
No,
Rolo's having cereal.
the cereal eater. What did the cereal eater say?
He gave a description of the title.
Yeah, and I couldn't hear it. What cereal you eating? Ah.
Hmm? ヤギか。そんなにすり寄ってどうした？腹でも空かせているのかね。あいにく今はお前が食べられそうなものは持っていない。餌をもらうなら他の人のところに。なんだ、もしや私の便箋を狙っているのかね。なんと卑しい。ダメだ、これは私のこだわりの品でね。それに紙など食べては腹を壊しかねんぞ。悪いことは言わない。諦めて。こら、やめたまえ。
You hope you can catch up to everyone in Twisted Wonderland. Yeah, but yeah, there's no rush. You can just experience the epicness of the story on your own time. And once you do, you'll be like, wow, That was peak I just read.
この浅ましいヤギめ、話さないというのならこちらにも考えが。いいか、ここでは人の目がある。町で大切にされている生き物でなければ蹴飛ばしてやったものを命拾いしたな。私のローブを噛むんじゃない。花の町は素晴らしいが、こういう不衛生さだけは受け入れがたい。以上の通り変わりなく過ごしております。そちらもどうぞお元気で。他人形に過ぎるだろうか。まあよい。こちらでも問題なく生活できていることを両親に伝えられれば十分だ。あの人たちは心配性だからね。
Take your time. That's good.
あれ以来とても火が。そうだな。もう少し手紙に近況を添えてみるか。どうせ今夜もまたろくに眠れはしない。存分に遂行することにしよう。
Good night, Mr. Aru. I hope your work goes well tomorrow.
Me too.
Are you still there, Mr. Bob? Yeah. Because I see like the chair, so I don't know if you're like gone. Ah.
時間はたくさんあるんだから。
Ooh. Aw. Purify.
正しき判事のように、私が君たちに良き行いというものを教えてやろう。
Groovy.
見ていたまえ。連結清純を体現した正しき判事のような人物になれるよう、私は今後も研鑽を続けよう。
Hopefully no one does anything stupid and it will be fine. Alright, now I can actually sleep. Good night. And he's still mad at Rolo. He tricked Malleus. Even though he was happy to be invited in these event, I was surprised when he was really angry too. Yeah, I don't know if I liked how they just handled Rolo at the end. Just like he didn't get punished or anything. He's just kind of like, oh, and he just kind of like stayed angry. It ended. All right. So, would you like to do Ernesto's or Deuce's? Boopa boopapi. Ah! I thought I was on auto. That old guy is still there? Is he gone forever? Cookie guy. Well, time to do my Duolingo. What makes you say, oh? I gotta do one more. And look at this. At the last moment, I got the November badge. All right. Ah! Dang it.
Twisted Wonderland.
戯れにロワードドラゴンに水鉄砲を向けたら軽くかわされてしまった。次は少し本気で狙ってみよう。
Doom. Doom.
Did you hear yourself?
I heard sounds.
Well, I'm back now.
Who is your favorite characters? Well, my number one favorite is right here. Look at him. He's so cool. I love him.
Yeah.
My original first favorite though was Riddle, because his Japanese voice actor Hanae Natsuki, he's one of my favorites, and I saw when this game was first coming out in English, like I could have been one of the original players when this first came out in like 2022 in the English version, or at least. But no, yeah. But so yeah, I was originally Riddle, and then it became Leona because I really liked his long hair. He's really cool, and I liked his voice. And then I got to book 7 and saw this guy, and then he became my new favorite, Lilia.
Nice.
私たちのディナーを作ったシェフは歌いながら調理
Are you back, that cookie guy?
美味しさの秘訣。
Yes.
Yuki asked a good question.
Did you watch the anime? Yeah, me and Bob are watching it together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really good so far. I'm a little sad at this, like how the kind of rushing, like everything so they can fit it within the 8 episodes. So they've dropped a bunch of stuff, but I'm just happy it's getting animated in the first place, and we get to see it's good quality too, good nice quality animation. So can't complain. And it's also really cool because we were able to get official English voices for them because of it.
Yeah.
Caught up in the moment. The library entrance hall. Which event are we reading, by the way?
The Rapunzel one? Do you remember it?
Well, are we just doing like a recap or what?
This is the side stories.
I can't wait for season 2.
Okay.
Also more Leona wool. Woo! Sorry, not wool. More Leona woo! Yeah, season 2 is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, in the recent episode, we like English Leona's been pretty good, and like he even said, "Be prepared." So like, whoa, he said the thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
The princess in the tower wielded a frying pan against a strapping young thief and locked him in a closet.
That cookie guy, you voiced him for this event.
Me?
Well, you're the tallest guy out of everyone here, right? The only closet in the library is the broom closet, so that'll have to do.
Hey, don't treat this like a given. How exactly are you going to use that thing to lock me in anyway?
That's the question, huh? Do any of the books talk about what she did, House Warden?
No, there's nothing aside from the vague description of using a frying pan on the thief and locking him up.
Guess we'll have to fill in the blanks. It's hard to think of uses for a frying pan other than frying eggs.
That's way too specific. Though I'm also having trouble thinking of uses other than cooking.
Yeah, huh. I'm coming up a blank too.
A nice display on the wall. You could use it to trace circles on your drawings.
Huh?
Trace circles, Fastra.
Around the pan, the base of the pan. I'm thinking of other uses.
I see.
Perhaps a frying pan happened to be what she had on hand when she faced the thief.
Makes sense. Holding a frying pan could probably intimidate an intruder. Especially if you held it up like this.
You call that intimidating? If the guy was a thief, he probably had run-ins with guards and had to flee over long distances on foot. Princess spent her life in the tower. She'd never encounter another human before.
Human?
Person.
I'm surprised they used the 4th anniversary song for the ending anime, and I'm happy they kept the song from the opening too. What's the 4th anniversary song? I know the opening song. Da 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 da. It goes to Wonderland. Ba 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 ba. I know that one.
Yes, Your Majesty. Da 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 da.
Oh, that's their 4th anniversary song?
Yeah, each dorm got their own song.
Unless there was something restricting the thief's movements, I find it hard to believe the princess could get the better of him.
you don't know that. Remember, this is a princess that got into shape by climbing.
Wanna bet?
All right, you're on. I guess Deuce is the princess here and Jack is the thief.
You two are getting far too invested in this. Save the fighting for later.
Sorry. When he offered to make it a bet, I just got caught up in the moment. What if, instead of... I was going to say the steamed hams quote, but I couldn't remember.
Oh.
Can you say the line?
But what if I were to purchase fast food and disguise it as my own cooking?
There we go. What if, instead of using brute force or getting into a straight-up fight, she got the thief to lose a bet? What do you mean? Jack said he found it hard to believe the princess could get the better of the thief, right? If that's what the thief thought, he wouldn't turn down a challenge from the princess.
Interesting. So, she exploited his overconfidence.
If he lost a bet, that explained why he'd have humored her. That still doesn't explain how she uses the frying pan.
Are you sure she didn't use it as a drying pan?
Yeah, I was thinking of that too.
Oh, you could play tennis, right? A frying pan is shaped like a tennis racket.
We don't have tennis balls. And more to the point, it would be a disaster if any rackets or balls damaged the books here. But the idea of a competition involving equipment with a similar shape as a frying pan does hold some merit.
Similar shape, huh? What items have round ends and thin handles? Spoons? Oh, I know one competition that uses spoons. Got an idea, Deuce? Yes, an egg and spoon race.
What's this? What's that?
It's a staple competition held on field days in the Kingdom of Roses.
The winner is whoever can reach the goal the fastest while balancing an egg on a spoon. The rules can vary. Some places disqualify you if you drop the egg, others let you pick it up and put it back on the spoon.
Oh, basically, you're suggesting we have an egg and frying pan race instead.
Yeah, that would count as a competition involving a frying pan. Good idea. But we don't have any eggs. Could we get someone to bring us some?
I somehow doubt you could drop an egg out of a frying pan even if we had any.
Don't worry, I figured out a way to improvise. We still got lots of the sugar cubes they delivered with the tea set, right? We can make a stack of those in the center of the pan. If you can reach the goal without the cubes toppling, you win. What do you think?
Stacking cubical objects hardly seems like much of a challenge.
The stack fell as soon as I lifted the pan. It's going to be hard running while keeping this balance.
This seems feasible enough in a library setting. Let's try Deuce's suggestion.
Okay, you and me, Jack, one-on-one. In a sugar cubes and frying pan race. Who's going to win the race?
Jack.
Huh.
Liberty, entrance hall.
Okay, you and me, Jack, one-on-one. In a sugar cubes and frying pan race.
What?
It would make sense for a competition between the princess and the thief to be one-on-one.
A race between Jack and Deuce sounds like fun. If I win, it's into the broom closet with you.
You're determined to make this a contest, huh? Are you planning something?
No. What's wrong? Are you chicken? If you don't think you can stand a fighting chance against me, I could come up with another idea.
Who are you calling chicken? I never said no. Challenge accepted.
The goal is the bookshelf farthest in the back. Whoever gets there first without their sugar cubes falling wins. Sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get this started.
Okay, you're both lined up evenly. Ready, set,
Oh,
go!
my sugar cubes almost fell over. Ugh, I want to run faster, but it's hard enough keeping this stack stable as it is.
Jack's stack, like the restaurant, almost fell right out the gate, but he seems to have recovered his balance. He shifted to a power walk with big strides that capitalize on his long gait. His motions are stable with no signs of wobbling, a testament to his core strength without a doubt.
Jack's making steady progress, but Deuce hasn't moved from their starting point. He's been readjusting his grip on the frying pan a lot. Is he stuck because his sugar cubes aren't stable enough?
No, look, Deuce is off.
Whoa, he's fast! But he's going so fast his stack might topple. Except it isn't wobbling at all. Deuce is gaining on Jack fast. This is shaping up to be a great race.
This is hardly the time to get excited over a race. Our ability to reenact the story hinges on this.
Oh, true. But hey, no harm in cheering, right? Keep it up, guys!
You're nothing if not carefree. Wait. Despite his late start, Deuce is almost neck and neck with Jack.
How'd you come up with me? Oh, come up on me like that.
Can you afford to rubberneck now? I'm about to pass you.
Wait, how's he running so steadily?
Deuce just blew past Jack and then some.
The race is over. Deuce Spade is the winner.
Ah, yeah.
Oh.
I was sure Jack was gonna win, but Deuce did an amazing job catching up.
Agreed. It's incredible he could run so fast while maintaining his balance.
You weren't plotting any tricks. You just challenged me to something you knew you could beat me at. Well played, Deuce.
Huh? What do you mean? I was positive I could win a race where we had to balance sugar cubes. I've done a lot of blast cycle riding over rough dirt roads and steep inclines. I know a thing or two about staying balanced.
So when you are adjusting your grip on the frying pan at the starting point, that was to find the most stable way to hold it?
Yes, basically.
For that,
Mostly muffled Jack.
I hate to say it, but a loss is a loss. You can shove me in a broom closet. I'm ready. Let's get this over with, Deuce.
Okay, Jack, here goes.
You didn't have to use the broom. hallway to F.
We're finally back at school. This place offers a nice view of the lanterns as well.
No, his beautiful hair.
They really are gorgeous. I'm so glad I get to see all this with you. You know, Deuce's whole sugar cubes and frying pan race idea was pretty fun. We should all do that together sometime.
I'm down, as long as you don't mind me winning.
You're right. I'm winning the next one, obviously.
I figured out the trick thanks to Deuce. If we hold that race, I certainly won't lose.
You too, House Warden? Well, it doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna come up on top no matter who I'm up against. Eee.
Nice. Deuce.
Now I can finally groovify him.
Mm-hmm.
See, he's now my strongest Deuce card. Because he's like maxed out on the spells, both level 10.
Mm-hmm.
And past his original max of 80.
Oh,
yeah. So now I can groovify him. Yay! Yuki! He knew Yuki was in chat.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the only other one from the event that I own. We'd have to go onto your account to see the Jack and the riddle.
Oh.
But there's only one story for him. What's it called?
I don't know. I'm doing something. Just a second.
Or maybe this can be the last one we do for tonight.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Spinning around.
Where at?
Oh.
Just hearing muffled codes.
Yeah. Jackson.
Pretty impressive that the princess and the tower did climb exercises every day.
Yeah. Man, my arm muscles are burning now. What a reminder that I still need to work out more.
I'll bet. You both talked about letting this double as muscle training and climbed with just your arms. It was way easier for me since I was using both my arms and my legs.
I was surprised at how nimble you were. You zoomed up there to the ceiling in practically no time.
It was fun on the way up and down. So, what are we doing next?
That'd be the laundry. What do we end up getting for that? I remember. Riddle vetoed your suggestion of a washing machine when we were brainstorming ideas for the item list.
Let's see. It was around here somewhere. Here we go. We got this pail.
Great. My dorms provided detergent too. Let's get to work. Wait. Where are we supposed to get water from?
We took access to water for granted. That's a pretty major oversight. This pail's huge. This could be a kiddie pool.
I did ask for a pail big enough for 4 people to do laundry in.
That's fair. We could definitely all do laundry together with this, but
Doubt the library has a faucet, and getting enough water to do laundry delivered through that window would be a challenge.
Agreed. I'll put in a supplemental request for a different receptacle or a long hose. In the meantime, we can do other things.
You need a lot of water? I can handle that. My signature spell can fill that pail in no time.
really? Great.
Really? Great. Then for what we're going to wash, I guess our PE uniforms would work.
That'd be nice, considering the sweat we just worked up. Take it away, Kaleem.
Sure thing. I got this. Respite in the scalding sands. A never-ending party. Dance, sing.
Wait!
Huh?
Huh?
What's wrong, Riddle? You scared me yelling out of nowhere like that.
You're the one scaring me! About to use your signature spell when this library is home to countless valuable, one-of-a-kind tomes. All that water could soak the books!
Huh? Does Kaleem's signature spell really make that much water?
Yes, I mentioned being thirsty before a meeting once, and Kaleem used his signature spell to make some water for me. But he created so much water that it completely flooded the head mage's office.
It's really that much all at once? That's incredible. But yeah, we wouldn't want to risk flooding the library.
Don't worry. All I have to do is adjust the spell so water doesn't spill the pail, right?
You can adjust it?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of? Kind of.
Kind of.
My signature spell lets me produce large volumes of water for a small amount of magic. Conversely, that means if even a teensy amount of magic generates a whole bunch of water, so it's hard to fine-tune it. But I've managed to fill 1 cup without overflowing it before, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Come on, guys, trust me.
Well, you're the house warden of Scarabia, so of course I trust you, but still.
It's hard adjusting magical energy, even with a signature spell. I'll use my own magic to produce the water for this.
Thanks for trusting me. Here goes. Oasis Maker.
Ah!
Oh, that worked great. Look, at our PE uniforms spinning around in the pail.
Oh, thank goodness. Luck was with us today.
That's some powerful water pressure.
That's some powerful water pressure. I was going to hand wash our stuff, but this should have it clean in no time.
Yeah, in fact, this reminds me of...
Yes, a washing machine. Kaleem produced a large enough volume of water to create a current.
I'm not sure what that means, but it worked out great, right?
Yeah, that takes care of the washing. Thanks a ton for your help.
Yep, I'm glad to help. So, next we'll need rinsing. Whatever that is, right?
Huh?
This is actually the first time I've ever done laundry. Always wanted to try it. Isn't it satisfying seeing clothes get clean? I'll make more water to rinse with now.
You're making more?
Remember to be careful, Kaleem, please.
Of course. I'll get it right this time, too. I'll get everyone's laundry nice and clean.
Nice.
Would you let him do your laundry?
No, not without a lot of lessons.
Huh.
Ah.
けどみんなといろんな挑戦ができたのは楽しかったな。
Yay!
Look at him.
Groovy.
毎日楽しいのはお前がいてくれるおかげかもな。ありがとう。
Arigato.
I wouldn't trust him with my laundry since he'll steal my Scooby costume.
Oh.
That's valid, Throwlin.
So, some final thoughts.
群青の街で見
It
た
was
ムッ
interesting
シュ
seeing
計画
him
班の演技は
meet his
素晴らしかっ
mother
た。また披露してもらいたいものだね
and。go into cool outfits.
What do you think, Cookie Guy?
I liked it. I was interested in how Jade and Floyd's mother is running the show here, and I'm expecting Floyd to show up.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Unless you already read the story and you know, but
Well, I know spoilers from when it came out in the Japanese version of the game. So yeah, whenever we stream next, I have tons of stories.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and see, like there's the Apple Glorious Masquerade one, and just yeah, I have, and we got to see the Ernesto one as well.
Is that one voiced?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, that sounds like it'll be a fun time.
Yay!
Thank you guys for coming to the stream, Throwlin and Yuki, and it was nice to meet you, Yuki. And I hope to be able to make it to one of your Twisted Wonderland streams soon. Also, thanks to Aru for stopping by. Stick Amethyst. Riddle looks cool there. Yeah, everyone who came by, I appreciate it. Oh, and thanks again, Gumi Yumi, for the raid. That was awesome. Now I will depart. So remember, if you are about to have a wedding and then you're gonna have to go in a boat and people are gonna try to turn it over, then you take care out there.
care out there.
You're welcome. I'm happy I got to talk with all of you, for sure. I'm happy too. It was definitely nice to talk to you. And we'll see you later. See you again. Bye-bye. Hope to see you all again soon. Yeah, for sure.